Today, we're going to be taking a look at Socrata Open Budget by delving into the finances of the lovely fictional city of New Alexandria. Open Budget provides an intuitive yet highly detailed way for users to explore the operating and capital budget, and along both these axes, really be able to understand more of the context and narrative surrounding the budget, as opposed to just looking at a bunch of visualizations without really understanding the story behind them. So, as a non-technical user, or someone who's interested in understanding each of these, I can, of course, drill down to individual line items within this budget, but more generally, it's really important that you allow those same users to be able to discover budget items that are relevant to them very quickly and easily. Imagine, for instance, that I am a concerned resident who has a library being built nearby my home, and I want to understand both how much that is impacting my own payment of taxes to the city or county, as well as understand what the progress on that particular project is. So yes, I could certainly drill into the capital budget. I could go ahead and find that specific library right on this map, or as I'm going to do here, I'm going to take advantage of this dynamic search interface that we're looking at here to go ahead and drill down into that, and we're going to take a look at this libraries category under the capital projects for New Alexandria. So right off the bat, you can see that we have a lot of different ways that we can start to navigate through and understand this budget data. So rather than just drilling down and seeing a bunch of line charts, we really want to be able to tell the story and understand how this particular section of the budget fits into that bigger picture. So we can see that libraries is a total of just a little over 1% of the overall capital budget for this organization. We can see how it falls under this culture and recreation department, which is only receiving a fraction of the capital project, but then of that, a large section of it is going toward this one library of which I'm particularly interested in as a resident, which is this Silver Spring Library for $39.8 million. So not only can I see what exactly this expenditure is for and where it's located, I can also understand more of the narrative around it. So say, for instance, I want to see precisely where these budget allocations are coming from. I can go ahead and change this view, not necessarily drilling down, but just, again, understanding that bigger picture of these transactions. So that in this case, I can see that the majority of the budget that is allotted for this Silver Spring Library and other libraries like it is coming from this specific bond type, and all of it is coming from local sources. In addition to that, I can go ahead and see where precisely it's going and see that, somewhat unsurprisingly, there is a definite weight in the budget allocations for libraries towards this District 5, which is where the library that I'm looking at is located. As I drill down further into this, however, I can now start to understand more of the specific plan and project details around this. So again, as a resident who's living nearby on Wayne Avenue, I can see that this is in fact under construction, as I'm well aware based on the extremely loud noises coming from my home, but I can also see what steps have been taken leading up to this point, as well as what's going to happen after the fact. I can see all the narrative around that. Go ahead and get into the project website it's from, see precisely how this funding is going to change over time so that I can see that effectively once this building is completed, in this case, it's going to drop off and no longer have any ongoing revenue associated with it. And for each one of these, just understand that greater story of how this library, again, fits into the overall budget of New Alexandria. So in this case, I had a very specific line item in mind that I wanted to get down to and wanted to see this underlying level of detail. But there are going to be other cases where people simply want to browse through the budget in an intuitive and simple way. And Socrata Open Budget is designed primarily for people who want to just be able to click through and browse through this data in a way that makes sense. It could be as a visualization like you see here. It could be getting into the actual list form of this, downloading the raw data, or it could be just drilling down along either the operating or capital budget to see what exactly is being allocated along all of these different pivot points. So earlier, what I did was I went ahead and I again used that search bar up here to search for a specific capital project, and I could have just as easily done that by going through that map. But of course, we also allow for a considerable level of drill down along both the operating and the capital budget. So say, for instance, I want to find that exact same library allocation. I can go in here and I can search for that by clicking down into these. Or perhaps, let's go ahead and actually stick with transportation, since it's one of these larger ones, and I'll drill down again, see not only what it's for, but where precisely it's coming from, where exactly it's going within that community, and again just continue drilling down into this high level of detail until we get all of the context and all the narrative around this and understand how this fits into the bigger picture of New Alexandria's budget. On the operating side, the experience is very similar. So we can go ahead and go in to, say, environment, or we can go into community development and housing. And from here, we can drill down into increasing levels of detail so that we can see permitting services and then administration. And for each one of these, not only can you drill down, but you can explore it in that greater context. See how it fits into that bigger picture over here, see where it's coming from, see what precisely is being proposed, and of course, allow you to drill down to a very detailed transactional view. And finally, of course, for every single bit of information available on this portal, there is the ability to take advantage of the underlying Socrata platform and create filters of this, create custom visualizations of it as an end user, export it in a variety of formats, or tap into that API, just to provide more of the ability to really get your hands dirty with this data. So however it is that's most relevant for you to be able to understand this budget, Socrata provides the means to do so.